The Emergence of Media Anthropology Content Transformed by Dr. Sajjad Haider. Source: Media Anthropology and the Digital Challenge by Mark Allen Peterson. An upsurge in anthropological attention to media began in the 1990s, driven largely by a recognition that radio, film, television, news and magazines were globally ubiquitous, and anthropology could not ignore their presence as part of the everyday lives of the peoples they studied. The launch of the journal Public Culture in 1985, the Media Anthropology Workshop at the University of Hamburg in 1999, the founding of the Media Anthropology Network within the European Association of Social Anthropologists, EASA, in 2003, and the establishment of media anthropology degree programs at universities such as the Free University of Berlin, Harvard, New York University, and SOAS, University of London, as well as the inclusion of media topics in many cultural anthropology textbooks, attested to the growing institutionalization of media anthropology within the broader discipline. Within the first 5 years of the millennium, 4 book-length efforts to summarize this rising domain of research emerged: Askew and Wilk 2002, Ginsberg, Abu Lughod and Larkin 2002, Peterson 2003, Rothenbuehler, and Comans 2005. This emergent anthropology of media took as its foci the construction of difference, media production outside the industrialized West, and attention to the role of mass media in the construction of identities. Theoretically eclectic, the anthropology of media freely borrowed concepts and theoretical language from communication studies, British cultural studies and literary criticism, as well as from theoretically sympathetic strands of social theory and political science. It built on the turn in media studies toward audience analysis, but introduced into it the reflexivity that had become increasingly central to ethnography in anthropology. Media anthropologists also focused on the study of media and global cultural flux, Appaduri 1996. The notion of globalization draws our attention to the ways media is distributed, and to understand distribution as a cultural process, a system of exchange and a way of generating social networks. Media play a central role in the processes through which capital, goods, people, images and ideas move around the world. Media serve as both vehicles for the flow of images and discourses, and shape the content of that flow. Information and communication technologies, press, radio, FIM, television, computers, cell phones and their many hybrids, move through the world and become incorporated into local media systems, dynamic, complex assemblages in any given social field in which media technologies interact with each other and with other social and cultural systems. This interaction occurs both at the levels of media technologies, their authorization, ownership and infrastructure, but also at the level of media content. Because media technologies are always tools for the production, distribution and consumption of texts and messages, the structural and infrastructural interrelationships shape the production, circulation, transformation and consumption of images, texts, and information within this system. It is possible to discern in the work from this period a dynamic model of media in which public symbolic configurations are selectively appropriated by various culture industries, that is, social organizations and institutions that control the technology, skills, and knowledge needed for media production. These culture industries, large and small, transform these symbolic configurations and return them to public circulation in new, textualized and commodified or otherwise objectified forms. This production process is mirrored by the consumption process. Audiences selectively appropriate symbols from the sets of media texts available to them and employ these in their practices of social formation. The circuit is completed as the culture industries become aware of and evaluate consumer choices through various means of surveillance, not the least of which are the observations and intuitions of producers who, after all, are also media consumers. Through this circuit, not only content but processes of selection and transformation may themselves be selectively transformed. This process scales at various local, national, regional and global levels.